The trial against the opposition leader Vladimir Kozlov, the leader of National Front Serik Sapargali, and the public activist, a former oil worker Akshanat Aminov, continued on Friday in Aktau Specialized Criminal Court. The first witnesses called in the court on day 2 was Kiikbai Yeshmanov, who used to be a defendant in the case of Zhanaozen riots on December 16. The investigative authorities of NSC cleared the former director of Ozhenmonaygas, Kiikbai Yeshmanov, of all charges and gave him the status of a witness. The questioning of temporary unemployed Kiikbai Yeshmanov lasted for almost 4 hours. There were many questions, all related to the nature of labor conflict, what was the root of all evil, and why could not it be prevented. Questions were raised exclusively by defense attorneys, while the state prosecution remained completely indifferent. Kiikbai Yeshmanov particularly focused on the identity of Akshanat Aminov, saying that he knows him well and has met him at work many times to resolve labor disputes. Yet he failed to answer why couldn't the company management resolve the conflict. We asked him why didn't the Ozhenmonaygas management solve these disputes in a timely manner while the disputes occurred over the allegedly unlawful demands. However, these demands were laid down every month, which implies that either trade union officials didn't perform their duties or the Social Development Department of Ozhenmonaygas failed to perform its duties, which raises a need to establish another department that could consult the workers on the legal issues of the matter. Arken Tospolov, the attorney of Akshanat Aminov, is confident that Kiikbai Yeshmanov partially admitted that the main oil company in the region has always had conflicts between management and workers, and he seemed to regret that he never got to resolve them. The witness said that the ruling of Zhanaozen Administrative Court finding the oil workers' strike to be illegal made the situation worse. On Friday afternoon, the court questioned another witness, the Vice Minister of Labor Birshan Nurumbetov, who repeatedly visited the rebellious region, as revealed through the questioning. On Saturday, Natalia Sokolova is expected to be called in for questioning, presumably regarding the matter of the salary amounts. I believe we're going to talk about salaries, and I assume the judge will be interested in this, as it may clarify the situation. On Friday, Akshanat Aminov's attorney Arken Tospolov explained the situation regarding the statement made by his defendant in the courtroom the day before. On Thursday, some media reported that Akshanat Aminov and Serik Sapargali had admitted full guilt. Indeed, he pled partially guilty of inciting social hatred and participation in the criminal group. However, the trial has just begun and we can change our tactics before the verdict is announced, says the attorney. He was also quite confident that this is not going to complicate the defendant's position. He pled guilty in general, however, he didn't provide any details. These details will be clarified and proven within the frames of the trial, as this is only the questioning phase. There are witnesses, the questioning of witnesses for the defense, the review of the case materials, and then we'll get to make the additional conclusions. On Friday, 9 suspected terrorists were neutralized by the NSC commandos in Almaty. The skirmish started in Tan village located not far from the elite residential district Baganashil at 5 a.m. During 1 hour, people in neighboring houses distinctly heard the shots. In response to the security forces offered to surrender, the gunmen retaliated with fire, leading to exchange of fire. According to neighbors, soon after they heard the explosions which caught the house in fire. As a result, all terrorists were killed during the operation and the house which they rented was burned to the ground. At the scene, the law enforcement officials found 9 bodies which were sent for examination. A few hours later, the prosecutor's office responded by spreading the following information. Neutralized terrorists were involved in the explosion that took place in Tausamali village in July. To recall, after the explosion in Tausamal village, 7 bodies were found in the burned-down house. Some law enforcement officers still believe in theory that the explosion was a preparation to attempt on the President Nazarbayev's life.
Одеться можно, поэтому вам и говорят, пока жизнь закрыта. А что там, ядерная бомба, что ли? Это без мата, пожалуйста. Я без мата. Я еще раз говорю, без мата, поехали, пожалуйста. Мне покажите, что реально. Я вам еще раз говорю, реально.
From the early morning, the area around the house was cordoned off, the road to the site was blocked by the police, and even local residents were not allowed to park their cars. According to local residents, they were not even warned about the upcoming special force operation near their houses. Just before the explosion, they were asked not to step out of their homes. Meanwhile, the residents themselves felt no urge to leave their homes. However, those who stepped out of their homes out of curiosity were reluctant to talk with the journalists. Eyewitnesses say that they didn't know the people who lived in the burned house, and they have never seen their neighbors. I heard the gunfire explosion, and then the house was burned down. Later I saw how police servicemen and patrol officers arrived to the scene. I woke up because of gunfire, but initially I thought that it was a firework. The skirmish went for an hour. People were in panic, but soon everything was over and calm. Later I think the servicemen came down here on a car and told us not to leave our homes. Right after the event, the city was filled with rumors about the relation of neutralized terrorists with the massacre in the Ile-Alatau National Park, where several days ago 11 bodies were found. However, the General Prosecutor's Office denied this rumor. On August 17 at 5:30 a.m., the Special Forces of Almaty Regional Office of NSC conducted an anti-terrorist operation, as a result of which 5 unidentified individuals were neutralized. During the inspection of the scene, we found 4 more bodies. A criminal case was initiated on this incident, and the investigation is already underway. On Friday, Vladislav Chelach met his mother, Svetlana Vashchenko, and his grandfather, Vladimir Chelach, in the detention center of Taltagorgan. The military prosecutor's office has kept its promise and let the family of the country's most famous suspect of high-profile murders of his fellow soldiers at Arkan-Kergen outpost. To recap, Vladislav Chelach, accused of serious crimes, repeatedly requested the investigative and oversight authorities for a meeting with his mother. The last visit took place in June in the detention center of Alakol Regional Department of Internal Affairs. The defense has repeatedly written petitions requesting the visits. However, the prosecutors say that this was the first time they heard about it. Vladimir Chelach said that the health condition of the sole survivor of Arkan-Kergen slaughter is cheerful, and he is to collaborate with the investigation. He feels adequate and no longer intimidated compared to when we saw him the first time. Imagine the situation like I'm standing before you. There were about 15 people and everyone is staring, and the cameras are directed at you as well. According to the president of the fund, Tamara Kaleva, the peak was recorded in August. In just 2 weeks, 3 journalists were injured by unidentified men. The last case of attack took place in the capital. The reporter of the magazine Hockey Kazakhstan, Maxim Kartashov, was beaten up at the entrance to his apartment block. Currently, the journalist is in the hospital. Take, for example, Maxim Kartashov, who seems to be quite peaceful sports journalist, but he was beaten up the second time already. In 2001, he was severely beaten up and injured. However, it happened again. At that time, he wrote about the issues and corruption in sports. It is most likely that the attack is related with his job. It is said that they never find the attackers and never link the attacks with the job of journalists. On Friday, Astana honored and welcomed the Kazakhstan Olympic team. Over 1,000 fans greeted them at the airport. Even more people gathered during the ceremonial passage through the streets of the capital. The cortege was accompanied by police, motorcyclists and bikers. The head of the state also found some time to meet with the athletes. He congratulated the athletes and hugged the winners and medalists. After that, according to Akorda press service, the president gave the awards. Alexander Vinokurov, Ilya Ilyin and Serik Sapiev were decorated with Atan Order. The weightlifters Svetlana Podobedova, Zulfiya Chinshanlo, Maya Maneze, as well as the athlete Olga Rypakova were decorated by the president with Boris Order. In addition, 6 wrestlers were decorated with Kurmet medals. The Minister of Tourism and Sport of Kazakhstan, Talgat Yermigyaev, was also decorated with the Parasat Order. In return to medals and orders, the athletes promised to accomplish even greater results in sports. The head coach of the weightlifting Olympic team, Alexei Ni, said that the world will hear the new names of Kazakh weightlifters the next year. The MP Bakhtbek Smagul believes that sport in Kazakhstan could be shifted to a new level. The president posed the right question by asking why these sports centers are not filled with athletes. How come we have no achievements in some sports, although we've allocated funds for them? We should keep our relatives and friends away from official offices and let the experts do their job, who should be attracted for these positions. I think we need only a few of them. If we want to win medals in these sports, we should stick to this policy. The national team of Kazakhstan is in the center of attention. The golden medals collected in London are not the only awards they are collecting. Now athletes are collecting the gifts from the governors and regions. The governor of West Kazakhstan region awarded $50,000 to the track and field athlete Olga Rypakova. In addition, he also promised to award her with the $2,000 monthly scholarship. The governor's office of Almaty region awarded Zulfiya Chinshanlo, Maya Maneza and Svetlana Podobedova with Land Cruiser 200 and $67,500 each. Sirik Sapiyev also got the key of a brand new SUV from the governor of Karaganda region. Meanwhile, the governors of Mangistau and Kostanay regions decided to award the boxers Adilbek Niazembetov and Ivan Dichko with comfortable Toyota Camry vehicles. The wrestler Akjurek Tanatarov was not left aside and received a Mitsubishi Pajero as gift from the governor of Zhambyl region. The resident of Almaty and the member of national team Guzel Maurova will be awarded with an apartment in Almaty. The champions Ilya Ilyin and Maria Volnova have not received their gifts from the governor of Kazakh region yet, but it is already known that the twice Olympic champion will be receiving $15,000 monthly scholarship, and it is only the beginning. The major awards they will be receiving from the government of the state: for golden medal they will be awarded with $250,000, for silver $150,000, and for bronze $75,000.